So it's been a while since my last marker sketch. Actually, because just like the last time, I messed up the first drawing and I had to redo it again. But lucky for me, I decided to scan the art first before I applied the markers. So I basically knew that at one point I'd mess up and I'd have to redo this, which sadly did happen. So yeah, until such point that I find myself in a position where I'm really confident with my marker rendering skills, it looks like I'll be scanning and printing my line art before I attempt to color it. So, about 2 weeks ago, I met with some of my college friends and we gleaned on the topic of how important it is to make artwork in order to improve. And one thing we talked about was the need to produce art fast, meaning that the more artwork you produce, the greater your chances are of success. This came around because we were talking about how hard it is to make art for yourself when you already have work. That sometimes when you get home or when you're already done with all the freelancing stuff, what you want to do is to just rest. For me, sometimes at the end of a long day, or even in the beginning, when I know that it'll be a very, very busy and stressful day, I often find myself wasting my time doing other stuff, like reading random articles and browsing the internet for toys when I know that I could spend that one free hour that I have to draw and work on my own stuff. So, this is a problem that basically I'm struggling with myself at the moment. So, I was watching a video a long time ago about learning. Sadly, I forgot the title of the vid or who was that guy talking there, but here's the story. Some educators divided a class in half and assigned both halves to make pottery. The first group was tasked to make just one perfect pottery per student, and their whole grade will be based off that one piece at the end of the term. Let's call this group the perfect group. For me, these are the artists who really spend their time working on a painting for months and months on end, toiling until they see perfect art. The other group was tasked to make as much pottery as they can, and their grades would be based on the number of pottery that they make. Let's call them the volume group. For me, these are the guys who work in production, who work with clients with consistent deadlines, and those who basically rely on their output to survive. So they need to produce on a day to day basis. So, both groups toiled for one whole sem, and by the end of the term, surprisingly, or obviously for some people, it was the volume group that made better pottery. There are many explanations as to why this is so, but it basically boils down to the fact that the more you do of something, the better you get at it. Now, the more you do something, the more mistakes you'll make. And provided that you are paying attention to what you're doing, the faster you'll be able to grow your craft in this way. Recently, I've been mulling over this volume stuff and I realized that I haven't been drawing a lot of stuff for myself. Basically, all that I've been doing for the past year has been client work. Now, it was fun and I honestly can say that I learned a lot from the pressure, especially from the last four comics for toy companies that I worked on. Now, those gigs made me realize just how much I need to improve because really, I realized I was struggling with a lot of stuff, especially coloring and drawing backgrounds. I also was able to identify areas in my workflow that could be improved, especially in terms of time and file management. I still do not have a monthly comic book to work on, so I actually feel a bit envious of people who do this on a monthly basis because I can just imagine how much they are being stretched right now and how much growth they are gaining just by the sheer volume of art that they need to produce consistently. I'm thinking that perhaps I may have been lax in that I do not do what I used to do before when I was very hungry at becoming a freelancer. I recall days when I would just sleep for 5 hours in order to get that extra 2 hours early in the morning to work on my portfolio. Now, I sort of relaxed, I guess, and I depended on my projects to be part of my portfolio, but sometimes the project does not cover areas that I need to learn. Like right now, since I've been mostly drawing robots, I barely draw humans or plants or animals for that matter. And while I do believe in specialization, I think that it's still important to be at least competent in other areas of art that I know will be of use to myself someday. So basically, keeping up with the idea that it's volume that will eventually benefit the artist more than perfection, I think that it's time for me to go and make personal art a more regular thing. I have in my notes some stories that I'd like to draw, some illustrations, fan fiction, and random things that I'd like to work on, and I'm praying that the Lord will help me get back into waking up a tad bit earlier to work on my own thing. I'm praying that the Lord will equip me again with the hunger that I had around 7 years ago that made me wake up really early and work fast enough to meet the 2 week deadlines we had for our art challenges. This is the reason why I budget at least 45 minutes at night to sketching and making videos, because I feel that I'm learning something new. And it's fun for me, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to set aside some time like this again in the morning. So I guess perfection does take its toll on an artist's output. The more you think about how wonderful your art should be, the more time you spend on it, and often this leads to you being overly obsessed about it and not being able to move on from the artwork. Time wasted, I'd say. Jake Parker said something nice about this. He said that it really is pointless to bring your art to perfection. Now, I'm paraphrasing him, by the way. Anyway, because by the time that you are finished with it, you're probably better than before and you'll never really be happy with your output. And this unhappiness is a good because it means that you are growing. When you've become satisfied with your work, you stagnate, and when you've stopped drawing, it might mean that you are no longer interested in growing. That or you have forgotten where to look for inspiration. You may no longer be hungry for success, and this lack of hunger will often spell the doom for your artistic growth. So my action plan is relatively simple. I'll budget some time in the early mornings, set deadlines again for my personal art, and I'll try to draw through the art problems that I encounter with my client work and in the personal art that I'll be making. It'll be fun, I believe. Anyway, thanks guys and God bless. Please do click on the link below for the high-res version of the Ironhide piece. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and cheers to you all. Thank you.